Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Vlates. I'm here to do part 3, which is late, unbelievably late. It's almost March and I'm still doing my stuff from December, January. I do hope you enjoyed today's video. It has a lot of my favorite games that I picked out. So some of these games that I got here from my pickups is first up, Ultraman for Super Nintendo. I picked this up for $5. I'm a fan of Ultraman, but I have family that's a bigger fan and they really wanted to play this, so I picked it up for them basically. Next up, I have for Super Famicom. This is one of those games that's very popular for Super Nintendo, but because the Super Nintendo is so pricey for this game, I think it's like probably in the $100 range or so, or even closer to $200, I think. Anyway, it's around that price. I bought the Super Famicom version of the game, which goes for about $20 to $30, somewhere around there. Picked it up for $5. That's this game, Chrono Trigger. I don't know much about this game other than it's the most popular game almost out there besides Earthbound, I think, for the Super Nintendo. So when I saw this at the retro game store for I believe it was $10, but half off sale around that Christmas time era, I picked it up for $5. So it is definitely one of those games where it was a game where I wasn't able to really play it, except I do have a Super Famicom, but I just don't have the translator. Well, now I have the Retron 5, so now I can translate the game into English, so that's pretty cool. So definitely gonna be playing this game. So I know that I never really got around to it. I got this over the holiday season, but I never got around to actually showing it off. So this is the Retron 5 system. I have already played it. I've been using it. It is a pretty good, fun system. I know some people have trouble with this system. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Most of the time the controller is the thing that goes bad on it. I know there's different models, and by models I don't mean like different design of the whole thing. It's more of a like this is the version 1, version 2, version 3 of the exact same system. And this is the, what I say it was, the 2020 model. So this is the newest version of the Retron 5 system. The older version, if you get like the first version of this system, you will most likely run into problems from what I hear. Controller doesn't work very long. The slots will start tearing up some games, I heard. The pins from the games, as well as also the pins on the system itself. I heard that some of the midway to the 2020 model has some issues where sometimes it doesn't even want to power on. So I basically took in all those reviews and tried to figure out if it's even worth getting this system. If you can get a working one without any problems, it is worth it, because if you are a fan of retro video games, it is really worth it, because you can keep your Nintendo, you can keep your Super Nintendo, you can either keep them stored away so they, preserve their lifespan, preserve, their condition and everything, and not have to take them out every single time you want to play a Nintendo game or a Sega Genesis game or a Game Boy game. You can just use one system that plays them all. I was very skeptical about this system. I really didn't know if I was going to want it, didn't know if I wanted to buy it. But after finally buying it and owning one, from my perspective, the way that I played it and everything, I have to say that I am very happy of owning one of these. It basically acts like a computer. First day when I opened it up, I thought it was broken because I pushed the power button, didn't want to turn on, pushed it again, didn't want to turn on. But then I started thinking, okay, you know what? It uses SD cards. It supposedly loads the games into like a ROM, like almost acts like a computer. So because of that reason, I was like, okay, well, on my old computers, I used to power on my computers by holding the power button for a little bit and then turning it on. So that's what I did. I held the power button for a little bit, let go, finally turned on. So yeah, I was freaking out. I thought it was already dead when I got it, but it powered on almost right away afterwards. So I tried one at a time, checking on cartridges. Nintendo worked perfectly fine. It read it. Some games didn't want to read, but I basically started treating it like an old Nintendo, where you just clean it, blow it, whatever, and then, pop it in and start working right up. From what I heard, it doesn't play every single game. Some games it will not play for just whatever reason. But if you have the newer model, I heard that it will play more games than others because it has more of the latest updates versus the older models, which you will have to, like, I guess, download them or whatever. Not entirely sure how that works, but that's what they basically told me, because like I said, it basically acts like a computer doing updates and connects to the internet, I believe, and either it connects to the internet or you have to get the stuff copied onto like an SD card. Language, it changes the languages. So if you have a Super Famicom game, you pop it in, such as any of the games I have, the Japanese games like Gomon or Chrono Trigger, pop it in, go on the computer, see if you can find a patch for it, language patch, pop in the SD card. After you copy it and put it into the system, it'll change the language. It is freaking cool. I'm not used to it, and I don't fully know how it works and how to, properly do it. I have one of my cousins doing it for me, and yeah, I'm able to play some games that I've never played before, and probably will never get a chance to play the American copy, such as Chrono Trigger. This game system costs $150. I basically got this for about 30% off or something like that, and it roughly cost $100, especially because I was saving some discounts with that retro game store. So if you can find a system like this for about $100, I would say, if you really want to take the chance and you're a fan of retro games and stuff like that, I would say for $100 is pretty good deal on Hyperkin's website. I definitely recommend it. And I recommend you finding out to make sure that you get the newest model. You don't want the old model. That's the one thing I heard from many people. Don't get any of the older models. if it says like it came out in I believe they first came out in like I honestly couldn't even remember. If I remember the year, I'll make sure to insert it. But I remember they said stay away from the early models. It's either junk or it's gonna fall apart if it hasn't already. Because you know you gotta get extremely lucky for those to work. They all told me go with a newer model because it's most likely to have all the bugs fixed, which on this one it seems like everything, like for the games, they don't get stuck in it like they do on the older models. This is what it looks like, and there's a little bit of a glare, but yeah, you can see that it's got different slots. Power button, I believe that one was the Game Boy slot. Your controllers, even's got little tabs for them, so you can actually pull these off, and it exposes the controllers, the slots for them. So, and you can play Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and Sega Genesis controllers. On each side there's 3 ports. Technically 2 Nintendos, 2 Super Nintendos, and 2 Sega Genesis. On the back you got the HDMI slot, which a lot of new TVs nowadays uses these. So it's already up to date, so you can play your old school games in high def, sort of. Power, USB slot to help charge the controller that it comes with. I only use it to run through the menus. You can use it to play. I don't like the design of it. I don't like the feel of it. So, and because I heard it doesn't really work well, I don't want to risk breaking it. And then here's the memory slot, so you can put the SD cards in there with the languages, and I believe some updates also as well. But yeah, it's a pretty cool system. Sorry for the glare, but yeah, so you got 4 slots on top. You got Famicom, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and then I think Super Famicom works on the same slot, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it either uses the same slot or uses the Super Nintendo slot. I honestly don't fully remember, but I know they do work. Yeah, so definitely check this out if you can get it for a pretty cheap deal, but make sure to get it from like a retro game store of some kind, or even from the Hyperkin website. That's the way to go. I don't really recommend getting it third party like eBay or even like maybe even third party Amazon, because you never know which model you will definitely get, and you don't have a real warranty with it. Comes with a standard 1-year warranty when you purchase it with Hyperkin. No matter, even if you get it from a retro game store, they will give you the 1-year warranty as long as you have the receipt and everything. It's kind of cool. It's like Xbox, Nintendo, and PlayStation, where they give you a factory warranty. And then like the retro game store that I bought from, they gave me I believe it's 60 days or something like that, in case if I don't like it, even I can return it. But I do like it, and so far, because it is working, that's why I decided to keep it. So comes with AC adapter, comes with some weird looking bumper stickers for some reason. Instruction manual, cables, you know, all the works. Here's the controller. This is the most uncomfortable controller ever, because it just feels like a big block. It feels like a brick. You know, people said that like some Xbox controllers were uncomfortable. Some people said PlayStation controllers are uncomfortable. Some people said Nintendo controllers are uncomfortable. Dude, Atari controller is more comfortable than this. Because it has the home button and everything, you can get through the menu a lot quicker with this one versus if you plug in a NES controller or something like that. So that's the only reason I have this sticking around, you know, and use it. The only purpose that I use this one. All right, the next game up is also Super Famicom. I got this game before my Video Games Monthly for February showed up. So technically I already had the game, one of the games that showed up in my February month. However, not really, because I got the Japanese version of it, and that is Donkey Kong, Super Donkey Kong, or in America it would be Donkey Kong Country 1. I got it with the box. I picked this up at the same retro game store that I pick up most of my Japanese games. This game is complete. It's got the manual and the game cartridge. And this one, I paid 10 bucks for it. And because at the time I didn't have Donkey Kong Country, and you don't really need the English, I was gonna say, the Japanese language to know what you're doing, I figured, you know, why not get this game? It's a popular game. It's one of my favorite games that I used to rent all the time. I just never owned it until, well, I was gonna say now, but it was then when I purchased this around the New Year's, Christmas time. And then later on, February, I got the American version in Video Games Monthly. So either way, I'm happy to have the full game cart with the box and everything. All right, next up, I have another Super Famicom game. As you know, I'm a huge fan of a certain particular Nintendo 64 game called Mystical Ninja. I think I did a pickups video with the sequel for Nintendo 64, but it's the Japanese version called Goemon's Adventure. Now this one, I don't know the actual name, because there's Goemon 1, Goemon 2, Goemon 3, and then there's a fourth one. I'm assuming it's the fourth game, but I'm not entirely sure. It might be a side game that has a unique title, so I'm gonna actually put that down below over here on this screenshot, hopefully. It's another Goemon game for Super Famicom. This one is an adventure game from what I can see. It almost looks like you can play up to 4 players, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's just showing you that you can have 4 characters. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of this character and his story-based style of games and stuff like that. So when I saw this at the retro game store, I definitely jumped on this. This game is not complete. This game is missing the book. So I basically have the box and the cartridge. So if I find the book, I'll probably end up getting it and adding it to this. But one thing that it did come with, which totally threw me off and I didn't expect it, was this other book, which I don't think is the book itself, because on the other side of it, it says Game Boy in Japanese. And I never really actually gone through it, but yeah, it's the Game Boy instructions. I don't know why this was in here, but it was, and it's now part of my collection. I'm gonna keep it with this until I get maybe a Japanese Game Boy. We'll see. But yeah, like I said, I'm a huge fan of Goemon Adventure, Mystical Ninja, all that type of video games series. So when I saw it for sale, I definitely hopped on this one and picked it up. Next up, this I got it from Amazon only because I couldn't find the original copy of it. It's basically a re-release. I was a huge fan of this for original Nintendo, but when they said that they were making it for Nintendo Switch, I had to pick it up. I couldn't get the limited run version of it, but I got the next step up, which is not a bad deal for it. Bubble Bubble for Nintendo Switch. Bubble Bubble for friends. The Baron is back. This, I picked it up on Amazon when they had a sale of this game. It went for, I believe it was $25-$30, something like that. Yeah, it's supposedly, I guess this one's 4 players, up to 4 players. So, like I said, I was a huge fan of it back in the day with the original Nintendo. Had to pick this up because of that reason. The next game up that I got here from, if you remember the guy that I bought most of my games from, the Nintendo 64 games, like the Wave Race, Clay Fighters, and some PlayStation games, and a few others. I bought this game mainly because this was one of my favorite games. Back in the day when I was a kid, I loaned this out to a family member. They lost it or whatever. Either way, they never returned it, and I was really bummed. I owned this game for Nintendo 64. I owned this game for originally for Sega Dreamcast, but before that, I owned it for PlayStation. PlayStation is the best system to play this game on, and that's the original Tony Hawk Pro Skater. This is the black label, not the greatest hits, the black label. Black label is what I originally had when I bought this game. Comes complete, book, manual, back art, and the disc, and yeah, I used to own this game, but I made the mistake of lending it out to somebody who never returned it. And like I said, it was one of my favorite games. I used to play this all the time with my a few friends and family members, and yeah, I have it for other systems, but it just doesn't play the same. 64, they cut out all the music. It's mainly just background instrumental of the music, and then for the Dreamcast, the controls are kind of wonky. Same thing with the 64, but PlayStation, they did it great, and that's the console that I used to play with all the time. So I'm happy to have this back in my collection. Right, so next up, these couple games come from the same guy that hooked me up with the Tony Hawk Pro Skater, a popular game for Nintendo 64 that a lot of people played, a lot of people have, a lot of people rented. I was never one of them. Apparently this was one game that slipped under my radar, that I just never gave it a chance to play. Originally came out for Nintendo 64. It was re-released for the Nintendo GameCube. I know it was definitely on the Nintendo Marketplace for some of those consoles. And it has been re-released for Nintendo 3DS, I know for a fact. Nintendo DS, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, he told me, well, if you want, I can hook you up with a good deal for the first game and the second game. Collector's edition. And I think you know which games I'm talking about when I just mentioned that. These were probably my favorite pickups because you just don't find them like this condition and everything for the price that I paid. And I went to even some retro game stores to have them verified and validated to see if they are legit. And so far, according to them, they told me they are 100% legit. They're 100% real, authentic. And that is Gold card. Legends of Zelda Ocarina of Time in a plastic sleeve. Gold card. Legends of Zelda Majora's Mask, also sleeved with the hologram. These two cards. Not only that, and they included the Ocarina of Time manual. So I got that book with the manual for the Majora's Mask, which is pretty cool because he also included this correction card where it basically, I guess it says on, I believe it said like on page 3, yeah, on page 3 of the instruction booklet, the middle paragraph incorrectly states that the game is a 4-player game. Majora's Mask is only a 1-player game only. So if you look at page 3, yeah, right there, middle paragraph does state to play 1 to 4 players by just connecting player 2, 3, and 4 controllers. But this is the card that states, sorry for the accidental print. So yeah, he included the manual for Majora's Mask. I paid about $70 for all those. Notice that these games have been starting to climb in value for whatever reason, because I did try to get a box. I tried to purchase a box on eBay about 4 times for this game, and each time that I was trying to make my limit, it was going about $10 to $20 above that limit. And when I tried again to hit the limit from the previous auction, it goes over that limit and then again. So I tried getting this for like about the box for, I believe it was like $60, but then it went for about 80. And then when I tried to get another box, I tried to shoot for 80. It went for 100. And I tried again for I believe I went with the limit of $100, and it sold for, I think that one, the latest one that I tried for was like 130 or so. And I was like, you know what? I'm paying too much for a box. I don't even care about the box because this is just going in my collection just to play and everything. And like I said before, I usually get those Nintendo 64 VHS box style cases where I can put the game and just put the manual, and then it opens up like a little VHS old school cassette box, clear case box. So these will be going in those types. I just have them stored away right now, so for now they're gonna stay in these. But yeah, these were definitely my favorite pickups because I didn't expect to get the manuals, and the manuals for me is just enough. I really don't need the box and everything else. Yeah, not a bad purchase for 70. Alright guys, well that concludes today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. That also concludes my video games holiday 2020-2021 December January pickups. That was a long road, and that was my fault for putting it on hold for so long. But it's there, it's out there now. Alright guys, make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed today's video. Make sure to leave a comment down below. Let me know what's your favorite game that I got from this. I always enjoy reading your comments about the games that I get, and also games that I should be looking out for. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, so that way you get to see more videos such as this through this channel, as well as also make sure to click that notification bell so that way it will go ahead and let you know when a new video has gone up. Other than that, that will be it for now. I do have more stuff that will be coming out on later videos. I'm just trying to get around to them. That's all. And I would tell you when they're coming out, but I don't want to get into that type of mess again. So instead, I will be letting you know they will be coming out in future videos on this channel. So until then, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next video with 1 or 2 surprises. Alright guys, take care.